Let's go. Tap in, tap in, tap in. Good morning. Good morning, world. Welcome, everybody. Build TV, episode number 3. This morning, I have the privilege and honor to bring to you guys the one and only Markel Rice, aka the Professor. We are gonna go ahead and jump right into it. I know we don't have as many we don't have any viewers on here at the moment, but we're gonna go ahead and get into it anyway. So Markel is founder of OWUL Academy. He's a self-proclaimed professor of universal law. So I want to bring him to the stage. Markel, I would like for you to, in general, just give a quick uh, introduction of who you are, and then we'll go into some of the concepts and questions.
Got you. Well, I like to say first, thank you for having me on your show, man. It's a privilege to be here, and you pretty much summed it up. My name is Markel. I'm a self-proclaimed professor of universal law, and that's the OWL Academy, OWUL, and it stands for the Old World Universal Law Academy. And pretty much what that is I take and simplify universal laws. Um, and I explain them and I help people, enrich their lives with universal laws. And I just tell people that it's their divine right to live in happiness, divine harmony, love, and, just vibrate out, the frequency of love to just manifest their desires and, their life to what they want it to be.
Awesome. So, with that said, I know there had to be um, something somewhere in your path that drove you to come to the point of doing what you do. Can you explain to us how did it all start? How did that take place?
That's such an interesting question. I would like every time I think about that, I think about different moments in my life. It was the one situation where I went through a really bad breakup, and that made me question, why is my life like this? Anytime you ask yourself a question, you're speaking directly to God. And so I was really serious about that. After that breakup, I was like, okay, God, why is my life like this? I really hated my life, and that sparked something in me. But as far as questions in the universe, I would begin to, look at different videos of the people pretty much saying, "You create your life," and I had to sit with that for a while. you know, somebody saying, "You create your life," and here I am hating my life, and so I had to sit with that, and then after I, saw that video, I would, little videos here and there, and then I became obsessed. And then I realized that people were talking about this thing called The Secret, as far as the law of attraction. Rhonda Burns, she was the author of that book. and she made it more, popular. And it's somewhat of new age philosophy, but this philosophy is ancient. It predates all religions. In fact, all religions derive from this knowledge of universal oneness. Um, but it was a moment in time where I really started to question why my life was the way it was, and knew that it could be better, because I've had so many different moments in my life that, and this is what I mean about the different moments in my life, where there was like extreme good luck, like where because I was brought up in a Christian household, but I'm also openly bisexual. And so so my Christian family would probably look at me and say, well, how come, this, that, and that, or whatever, like, how come you're able to just do the things that you do? Like, I've manifested houses, RVs, I've been on TV before, like, it just lucky things that just happened, like opportunities that just came to me out of nowhere. And so I always believed that God was on my side and that God loved me, you know. And despite me, being gay or whatever, I just believe God just loved me. And so I had that in the back of my mind. And then when I got to the position of where I hated my life, all of that, everything just kind of pulled itself together. Like, God was always there the entire time. Um, it just made me to get more smarter with my life, or as far as like the thoughts that I create or cultivate in my mind and things like that. But I'd say that that breakup is what led me here, on this spiritual path.
Awesome. So, with that experience, when it took you to that place to get you to the point of you being able to I guess begin to recover. How
Mm.
long how long did it actually take you to come out of that? And what were some of the things that you did in order to begin the process to come out?
Well, you mean as far as like the depression with my life or whatever, that situation?
Yeah, like when you said you went through the breakup and it put you in a dark place, and you kind of uh I guess you got an awakening at that point, at some point, and then you started to be like, well, you can see clear. You knew the things that you needed to do in order to bring yourself back around.
So as far as the because it's that sparked the awakening, but I'm still in the awakening process. Like, I don't think I would ever that would come to an end. But as far as the depression and the darkness, um, because like I said, after the breakup, I was already dealing with the depression of the breakup, the depression of hating my life. And so when I came to the knowledge that all of this was because of me, and that I created it this way through my thoughts and everything, that also caused a depression. But with the knowledge and studying more and more and more, I was able to get my to grab to exit those thoughts, of hating my life, hating my partner, um, and coming into realization that it was all because of me, not that it was my fault and that I blame myself, but that every life is not happening to me, but it's happening literally through me. Like, life is coming through me, and it's a reflection of myself. I would say, like, I maybe 2 months, because it was a lot that I had to sit with. It wasn't just it went from the breakup to realization. And when you try to explain something new to someone, how they shut down, right? So imagine coming into knowledge on your own with nobody in the room to say, hey, this is you, this is you, this is you. That you can't sit there and fight against that. That's something you have to sit and deal with. Unless you just say, I'm not going to deal with it, and then you just keep continuously living your life the way that it was. But I was through with that. And so that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, uh, it was all in stages. But the depression has dropped off, but the awakening process, that is a continuous state. Like I'm still living through that. Like I'm realizing more and more about myself,
Yeah.
uh, more and more of manifestation, you know, more and more about this concept of God, time, science. Like I am constantly eliminating myself of old knowledge and taking on more knowledge that resonates with where I am and where I'm going. You know what I mean? More that's applicable to my spiritual journey, and that's just been a continual process.
So you mentioned a few minutes ago about you said you started some companies. Um, I think you said you got into some real estate. Um, would you like to speak on that a little bit? How
When I
that?
did real estate,
Mhm.
oh, that was a while ago. I've done real estate in 2 years, maybe, yeah, 2 years.
Okay.
But are you talking about the OWUL Academy?
Yes. I wanted to get to that as well. So you basically, like you said, you haven't done real estate in a while. That was just something you that was just something that happened along the journey. One of those things that
Right,
you.
that actually happened before my spiritual journey. I mean, I teach people how to do it because it's very easy. And that's another thing. I have a gift of learning things, how to do things fast. Um, but before my spiritual awakening, I picked that up and I learned it. But nowadays, people usually just call me for contracts and paperwork and connections, like who close on those sort of real estate closings and things like that. So that's pretty much all I do now. And I pretty much do that for free. I just give that away because I'm not, as serious in it like I used to be.
Yeah. Well, one thing about having the knowledge is always there, where you can pull out of it and help people, or if you ever want to fall back on it and use it, you have it. It's like
Right.
riding a bicycle. Once you got
Absolutely.
it, you got it. You might have to come in refresh a little bit, but it's there. So let's segue on into the OWUL Academy. Um what is the OWUL Academy about? How did that transpire?
The Owl Academy is actually something that's in the making still. I'm a one person team at the moment, but pretty much it's just a business where I can't really explain it because it's going to sound really TV. It's going to sound like, really TV like, but like if you wanted something, if you wanted, like I said, that experience where I decided I wanted my life to change and I had to make that change myself. That this company is for people like that. I've dealt more with sick people with terminal diseases like cancer, HIV, and all of those crazy diseases like kidney failure, diabetes, skin diseases like that. um, People with situations like that find me because they may have heard, or they were maybe raised on your we create our own reality in some way, so they have some sort of knowledge to it, and so they come to me to refresh their memory and to attack, or let's say this word, to neutralize what they're going through, because everything that we're going through in our life, and this is pretty much all I tell people, everything that we're going through in our life is a divine reflection of what we are feeling inside. In other words, what we're going through in our physical life is a divine reflection of the inner state of consciousness. um, like depression leads to having more situations that cause a deep more depression, whereas if you have more positive thoughts, you could attract more serendipity or good luck into your life. And so that is all the Owl Academy is. And so while I'm healing people, or while we're healing people, we also get them on herbs, uh, naturalism, or we'll put them on a vegan diet. Even if someone came to me and they just had depression or something that was not like an illness where food related, or anything, it's always going to be, let's go on a 3-day fast, and let's get our diet, because our diet is a very important part of why we feel the way we feel. And so to get to the natural person, or to get to the person as real as they are, I can't really explain it the way I'm trying to say it. We get the person as pure as possible. We get them off of stuff so that they can have a clear mind, and then we go in and do the work, And so some people will say, "Oh, that sounds like magic. You know, you're saying if I start thinking differently or whatever, if I just do this differently, then something magical, or I'm going to be healed, or something's going to happen in my life." Whatever, you go to church for that. But when you go to church, you are asking something outside of yourself, and you're bypassing what's really important. Those traumas inside of you, that's the reason why you're manifesting what you're manifesting in your life. But you go to God so He could just take it away. What are we learning through that? Like, why would an all intelligent God have a process like that set up anyway? Because we wouldn't even be able to learn anything. And I just believe that life is set up the way it is for us to evolve and grow. And so when we manifest the same situation, it's literally life saying we could do something else. It's life showing us, hey, we could do something else. And it's usually when we decide to do something differently. And that's literally all the OWL Academy is about. It's explaining that to a science, whether it be through biblical concepts, metaphysics, uh, philosophy, quantum science. Uh, we even use nature to explain this, because you know everything around us, especially in nature, explains the making of these laws. Everything is held together by these spiritual laws. And so that's really all the OWL Academy is at this moment.
Awesome. So, speaking of religion and church, I know with what you're offering um through the Owl Academy, have you had any encounters where you've had to like help someone that was deeply into a certain religion or faith? And if so, uh, what type of challenges did you have to go through in order to get them to somewhat, I don't want to use the word convert, but in order to get them to see so they can start progressing in a direction that will be beneficial to them?
It's quite difficult, but here's the thing, and I know you changed the word from convert. Here's the thing about religion, when and here's their issue. When you speak to them about this stuff, it's almost as if they think you are trying to convert them. So you use the correct word. With this knowledge, there is no need, there's nothing to convert you to. There is no God that I'm trying to, there's no form of doctrine of religion. The law is the law. That's it. And the law is I am. That's the only law there is. We have different pieces of it now. But there is one law, and it's I am. Whatever you are, your life is, everybody around you is, your money is, the car you drive is all connected. But the challenge, it is quite difficult to explain this to religious people, because that's, as I said it before, there's somebody in the sky on the throne with all they need in their hands, just sitting on it on the throne. And that's what they believe. They don't believe or can grasp that if they change their inner state of awareness, even though Paul said, be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. He said that. That right there, that's the whole key. That's everything you need to know. And in another scripture, he said, keep your mind on all things that's good, things that bring you peace, things that bring you happiness, because he knew the mind. And in Proverbs, Solomon said that be careful of what comes out of your heart because the issues of life comes from it. So all of these metaphysical laws are in the Bible. And so even the challenge, and you would think the challenge would be easy when you bring these laws or these scriptures to them and say, well, this says this says that, and this says this. But they don't have the the correct state of consciousness or the level of consciousness to grasp that. It's like giving bird knowledge to worms. Worms cannot understand that language. They don't speak birds. You know what I mean? They don't understand it. And so you will understand now why Jesus was killed. Why most of the prophets, like Muhammad, like all of these people, I'm not sure if Muhammad was killed. I don't know. I know Jesus was. But because they were sharing these keys to the kingdom, you know, and they killed him. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is not something you can observe. That's what he said in the New Testament. He said the kingdom of heaven does not come with observation. And then in another scripture, he said he told you where the kingdom of heaven was. He said inside of you. And then in another scripture, he said, does it not say in your law? And he was talking to the Pharisees. Does it not say in your law that ye are gods? Like all of y'all. Like, to which they had no response. Or if there was a response, it was removed out of the Bible. You know, so nothing I'm saying is foreign. People just don't fucking read. It's there for you to see. Is right there. Nothing. Everything I said could be fact checked. Because before I spit it out. I read it. Besides, I've been in church my whole entire life. You know, but it is a challenge. It is a big challenge. But I'll say this, and maybe this is applicable, but I'll leave it like this. When you say you have two babies, right? And you raise one baby, speaking to it like we're talking right now, like very intelligently. You don't speak to it like, oh, Google Gaga, all that, baby vernacular and all that stuff. You don't talk to a baby like, you talk to him like with human words. That baby grows up with a different wired brain than of a baby who was talked to like a baby. And so already that baby who was taught to intelligently has a higher state of awareness, a state of consciousness, right? And so now think about it like this, we raise our children on religion. Even if we don't even, and this black people, even if black people don't believe in Jesus per se, they'll still take their damn children to church because it's programmed. They don't believe in shit that thing say, but Easter, they're there. The 4th of July, they at the church having to cook. Christmas, they at the church because it's all about program. Um, and so when you raise someone on religion, you're raising them on a lower state of awareness than if you raise a child and being accountable for themselves and saying, hey, your life is whatever you create it to be. Just that simple knowledge as a child, who gets that child is already on the path to become a multimillionaire because they're already grown with accountability in them. Like, I'm doing all of this and everything
They're
comes to
not
me. I gotta do
waiting
this.
yeah, not waiting to be for someone to come and rescue them.
Right. And so
Yeah,
here's why you see black people like to say, oh, white people have more privilege. They don't have more privilege. They don't raise their kids in the church. They don't raise their children with worry about money. They don't raise them. They don't grow up watching their fathers and mothers stress and fuss about money. They don't grow. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to peel it apart or whatever, because we know that some of this stuff is, push on our community by way of programming on TV and, like I said, religion. You know what I mean? But just religion. If black people just drop religion, black people would be okay
and
because no one is accountable. for themselves. We're waiting for something to crack the sky open and come and save us. That has been our history, like throughout slavery. We're just waiting for something to come and save us, and we are the gods that is going to save us and the whole planet. You know, it's going to take us, but black people have to snap out of it.
And that's I think that's a huge barrier right there. Um, just uh, people, black people having to drop religion. I know that's like taboo. That's something that shouldn't even be thought of, or even let alone us saying it. And then the other thing, the part in there where it says ye are gods. I've mentioned that a few times to religious people, and it's just like that's something that they don't want to hear, but it's
Right.
there. So if you're following that faith or your belief or your religion, and it's telling you right there, you are gods. How can one just denounce that, or
Right.
they deflect it and try to say that it has a whole nother meaning?
Mm-hmm.
Ye are gods. This those three simple words.
Mm-hmm. It's just like I am is God's thing. It's two simple words. Like, I mean, like you would think the connection would be made. You would really think the connection would be made. People walk around all day proclaiming the name of God all day long. All day long. How are you? I am doing good. I'm feeling sick. I'm well. I'm all day long. They're proclaiming something, a perspective of God. They're taking on God all day long, a perspective of God all day long. All day long, we're switching different parts of perspectives of God within our own selves. Although we ourselves are manifestations of different perspectives of God, as above, so below, we are taking on different perspectives of God just by how we speak and how we think throughout our entire day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's really right there. It's just really right there. And see, it's supposed to be, when you think of witchcraft, when you think of sorcery, like real sorcery. I'm not talking about this TV stuff where you wave a wand and smoke come out of the way. Real sorcery is strategic. It's masterful. It's very blinding. If you have the right sorcery or the right magic, you could put God to sleep. That's what's going on with black people now because they're the gods of this planet, or they're the original man of this planet. You say it like that. They're asleep. And so if you have the right amount of magic, you know what you're doing, you can put God to sleep. You can literally put the words and the keys in people's hand, which is the Bible, because the Bible, if you read it right, will change your entire life. If you read it like the people who's controlling your life, like if you read it the way they know how to read it, you could change your life because they take that same Bible and speak spells and stuff on us. You know what I mean? And so black people are under a spell. This is all of this is a spell, man. It's magic at its best, and see, Matt, in order to put someone under a spell, you have to put the spell in front of them. You have to tell them that this is a spell, and the Bible tells them. The Bible tells you, like, I mean, the Bible tells you that we're under a spell. Even in Revelations, it says the world will be controlled by pharmacia, which is sorcery. Well, we know today as pharmacy is like medicine and stuff like that, but that's a bunch of spells and potions, you know, and look at what AI is doing with our biology, so We're under a spell, and sometimes I think like, God, are we winning or are we losing? Is light winning because there's so much going on?
Yeah, when you a lot of times when you look at it, looks like the dark is winning.
Yeah,
Looks like that a lot. I mean, what do we do in that situation where people are just distressed? The ones that are trying to do right are being manipulated and deceived by the ones who still have a little uh, power to do the powers that be. I guess if you want to look at it, and you just got people to at a point where they're just like it doesn't even matter anymore. They're just going to do whatever it takes in order for them to get by or get over. Um,
right.
yeah.
I
So
definitely gotten there.
yeah, go ahead.
I've definitely gotten there, or I should say, have been there. I think I might be there now. Um, but Jesus said, I think Jesus said it. He said, "Save yourself." If your plan was to save the world, you couldn't do it if you unless you had saved yourself. You wouldn't be a good contestant to do so, unless you saved yourself first. You know what I mean? But ultimately, if you are creating your own reality, if that power, if that's true, if we have the power to create our reality, now the world is the way it is because we collectively agree to it. And the Bible, and I know we're talking about the Bible a lot, but the keys are there. The Bible says, if two or three are gathered in my name, I will be in the midst of them, right? This speaks about mass consciousness, how mass consciousness, like say, has the power to create change or whatever. The world is driven by money and all this stuff because we want it so bad. The moment we lost our desire for money in this system, it loses its power, and they would have to figure something else out to control us. But we're controlled by money because we love it so much. Like, look at how people act over it. You know what I mean? Not even realizing they are money. Like, because if they didn't exist, money wouldn't exist. It only exists as a physical form of energy. It's just energy, just like you and me. This phone, the laptop, it's just energy. It's all the same thing. And so you realize that I am is everything. I am is money and I am is peace. And if you want money, I am is money. And you say I am whatever the amount, I am whatever the amount you want. And you just keep saying that. I am $50,000. I've done this before. It works. I am $11,000 because you are. There's nothing in this universe you are not connected to. And once we get to this and we realize this power, we won't even be worried about what the world is doing because that's not our world. You know, I mean, physical reality is just a reflection of what goes on inwardly. You know what I mean? And so when you detach from what's going on in the world, you no longer have create or push creation power towards that. You know what I mean? That mass consciousness thing loses your creation power. You know, and then you can then take that power that you were using to create what they wanted you to create and create your life. You realize you have more energy. You have you can go right to sleep. You know, most people can't even go right to sleep. When I realized that and I saw these different videos, the people saying that they can't go to sleep, I thought it was mind blowing. Because man, when I said I can go to sleep like that, and I love to go to sleep, people can't even go to sleep today. You know, and so it's because they're using their power to create the world, and so you just take your attention off of it. You don't worry about it because if it's fucked up, it's gonna stay fucked up. It's unnatural anyway, so it needs to crumble. it,
And I
it,
think
it, it doesn't. It has nothing. It's not helping nature in any way. It needs to crumble anyway because it's destroying the nature. This reality, this matrix, this money system, this all this trash, cutting down trees, building up shit we don't need, just to power the system even more, it is destroying the planet. And so it will, whenever you fall in love with yourself and you fall in love with nature, it just makes sense to just ignore that shit and just create your reality in peace and love and harmony within your own self. You know, it just becomes easy to not worry about the world, you know?
I think at some point, we by nature are connected in the proper ways, but then when humans become, I guess, indoctrinated to the ways that we live, like materialistic and like wanting the money and the power, um, they get a taste of it, and then they want more and more
Right,
and more, and then it can come to a point where if you are not careful and mindful of the things that you are doing with what you have, then you can get to a point where um, I would say sort of like a point of living beyond your means. And I think a lot of people fall victim to that, wanting more. And just say, for instance, like getting in debt and
hmm,
buying things that they really don't need, buying things that they know that they can't afford. And then they just get wrapped up into this never ending cycle where they're just still trying to have more and keep what they have and doing more until they just get disconnected from their natural purpose of self.
right.
And I think that contributes to a lot of the issues that we're having on a basic level right now. If we
Right.
can get to a point where we just let all that go,
Hmm.
be like free yourself from that and pretty
Right.
much start over. I think that can probably I think that's similar to where you went when you said when you began your journey when you experienced the pain with the person that you was involved with. It's almost
Hmm.
like you just had to drop everything and just build from the ground up.
You know what's funny? What I've learned about life, when you elevate a stage of, okay, when I say elevate a stage of consciousness, like when you change your perspective about something that you're viewing in your life, right? When you say, okay, you know what, I no longer have to think that way, you realize when you look around after that, you got a bunch of shit that you no longer need. Every time I move my life in a direction, or I say, okay, I now want this, and I have to eliminate what's inside of me that's keeping me from this new desire. Like they call it manifesting something new. Because there's an art to it, like getting stuff. The only reason why you don't have it is because maybe there's something inside you that says you don't deserve it or something like that. When I neutralize that and I start moving towards my desire, I look around and this stuff I have, this I no longer have the desire to keep. I have to throw it away. I give it away. I have, you realize how much stuff you actually have that you don't need. You know what I mean? Um, and I had a lot of, and when I say my expenses of this, the expensive stuff that I had was stuff that I made, um, that I created. Because, you know, I designed furniture and stuff like that. And so I gave it all away. I gave it all away. People were like, what? They were going crazy. Um, but I just didn't have that desire in me to do that anymore, you know, and or not to desire to do it anymore because I wasn't doing anything. Just had the furniture. I just didn't. That was no longer me. You know, you may even find whenever you know you decide you want to be someone different, you don't even like the decoration of your home, or you don't even like the clothes you wear anymore. You literally become somebody new. And so when you were talking about somebody, the people who are materialistic and people who go out and their main purpose is to get more, get more, get more, get more, it's because they they're in the soul trap. That's something that I like to call a soul trap. Um, when you catch yourself in a loop of always wanting something that really has no, it's not benefiting your soul, because everything you do in this life needs to benefit your soul purpose, right? And so if your purpose is to just make money, then you get yourself into a soul trap, where that's your life. Your a soul trap is your conscious mind telling you this is your life purpose, to make money, when really you need to find out why, find out there's something inside of you that you're not looking at. Because if you're always wanting more and more and more and more and more, then something inside of you is missing. Like something in you
Yeah.
is like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to put words to it. But if more and more and more, instead of it needs to work backwards. Okay, what can I release? What can I give away? Because when you realize what it is inside of you, letting go just makes sense, whether it's something physical or something emotional or something spiritual or trauma that you faced in your childhood. Letting go is a natural process, because since we were born, we were shoved things at us, like their knowledge. Do this, don't get up, raise your hand to go use the bathroom. Like different things was just shoved at us, and it created us to where we are now. And when you get older, you just realize, I don't need to go and get anything. It's I need to get rid of all of this stuff in me. And the paradox is, a paradox is a strange, you know what the paradox is. But the paradox about that is, when you let go, all you do is create room for more. That's the most
Like,
backwards part, because we think we need to go and get more to get more. No, it's backwards. We release to get more, because otherwise you just got a bunch of shit piling up on top of each other. Trauma, piling trauma on top of trauma, piling your 9 to 5 over this, business meetings over that, arguments upon arguments, and then having to repeat all over again. That's a bunch of shit you gotta let go. You know what I mean? And so when you let that go, then peace can come, because peace knocks at the door and like, wow, you cleaned up. I think I can stay here for a while. Peace ain't gonna come with you got worry and trouble all over the fucking place. You gotta sweep that up, you know, and then say, hey, peace, I'm ready for you. And peace comes, you know? And sweeping it up is dealing with it, looking at it head on, and saying, hey, this is me. I no longer want to be this person. And this is when we pray to God and say, okay, this is working with God, because you have to work with God. You can't just say, God, do this for me. You have to do the inner work. Like, God, show me what's in me that's still creating this. You know what I mean? This is how I pray. I say, okay, God, let's work together, because this is a team effort. You know, I know I probably went left with all that, but yeah, letting go is very important.
yes.
It really is.
Yep. Speaking of letting go, I have this. I came up with this phrase that says, "Care about everything." Um, how did it go? Care about everything attached to nothing.
Right.
Um, and I feel like you naturally, a person of passion, would care about a lot of things or any and everything. But when it gets to the point where you are like extremely attached and chasing something that you shouldn't be chasing, that's where we run into issues
Right.
on our own progress, our own personal development, so to say.
Absolutely.
Yes. Um, I wanted to I want to segue a little bit. Mention you are into crafting. You
Mhm.
you kind of spoke on it a little bit a few minutes ago. Um, let us know about some of the things that you've created with your hands. And what does that do for you? How does it come about? Why does it matter? What expound on that a little bit? Uh, the crafting part of yourself.
Why is crafting like it? Why is it important?
So like, I've seen you. You've done a lot of different things with wood. How did you get into that? Um, what drew you to that? Crafting, creating stuff out of pieces of wood.
I think I like taking nothing and making something out of it. And that echoes out through all different mediums of creativity. As far as that, by that I mean fabric, because I do sew as well, carpentry, and sometimes I mix the two. You know, as far as like furniture, you like upholstery and all that. But I think for me, creativity. I mean, think about it. Like in the beginning of the Bible was like God created the earth. But like if you were to just to forget about the Bible and just look around you, like everything is always creating something. Like I mean, we're on devices that was created by somebody. We're on a show that you created. Like everything around us is created. And I just feel like that is one of the reasons why we come to this dimension to experience life here on Earth is to create. You know, created by created by the creator to create, you know. And so what gives me a thrill is when I take something people look at it and say, oh, that's trash, or just throw it away and turn it into a very expensive piece of furniture. I love doing that, you know. I like to wow people in that manner. And so I think that's why I like to create, but not just to wow people, but just to see how things come about. Because when I make stuff, I don't sketch things out. I just go along, like just make it, you know. And that's so cool to me, you know, because I don't know how it's going to end up, you
Yeah.
know. And so creativity is something I really really like to do. I just really and it doesn't matter what it is. You could be sitting around in a circle brainstorming, like just that power of creativity is a power I love to be around. Yeah, creativity is very important to me, I would say.
And that falls right back on that caption. Yeah, gods.
Right.
We're creators. Um,
Hmm.
I believe each and every one of us are. Some not in tune with their creative side. They feel like they are not creative, but I feel like there's some creativity in each and every one of
Oh
us.
yeah.
We just gotta be able to sit back and take the time and do that shadow work and tap into that
Right.
that's inside of us that wants to express. That's creativity.
Right.
You said, everything. I mean, every man-made thing around us was created. It was first someone's thought, someone's ideal, and then they found a way to take action and move forward to it
Right.
and create it and manifest it, brought it here. So yes, I'm really big on creativity as well.
Absolutely.
Um, did you have anything else you want to say? Because I got a couple other things that I want to move into.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
I'm just following your questions. Go
All
ahead.
right. So, death. What is when you think about death? What what's your reaction to that? What do you think about death? What is your outlook or perspective on that?
There is no death. That's what I think about it. Um, there is a natural process of people leaving their bodies permanently. Not well, there's a natural process of people returning back to source. Let's say it like that. Um, but I mean, energy is not created nor destroyed. So the same energy that's in your body is connected to a larger part of energy. We spoke about it the other day, 0 point energy or the field or source. You know, you just return back to source. Or another way, I heard another someone else say that you just return back to a broader perspective, um, the master perspective. So I don't believe in death. I mean, all we know is life. Think about it. You were born. That's all you know. You came into this world. When you leave this world, you're just gonna go into another. As above, so below. As it begins, so shall it end. You know, that's the same way of saying it. As it begins, so shall it end. I mean, we live in eternity now. Like the earth we live on, this is eternal. Like they like to say the end times, but there's no end time. This has been going on for ages. Civilizations crumble and fall, but the earth goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. So we're already in eternity, but our mortal bodies are not eternal. But the spirit that encompasses, or that the spirit that's inside our bodies, is immortal. And so that's the energy that can't be created nor destroyed, but just transferred. And so it just transfers. So the everything is a dirty trick. You know, they play dirty tricks in your face. And so they call it death, but really that's when life begins. This, what you're living right now, this is death, because you had to fall from a higher vibration to a lower, because I mean this is dense reality. It's everything's hard, like you dock on it and you can't go through it. But although everything is still moving and it is energy, it's a very dense form of energy. So one may even say that this is hell, but this is whatever you created to be. But you fell from a heavenly state to come down. Like, I mean, you're like a fallen angel, it's pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, where you come from is divine and heavenly, and just a divine frequency of love and and solitude. Like, it's just, it's beautiful, you know. And so one might say this is death, and when you die or when you leave your body, you just go into life until you die again into another form, you know. So, you know, you fall in vibration to just have this body. You know, but then we come here to raise our vibrations, and and this death, like Jesus on the cross, that is the symbol, this that's symbology for the death we go through in life. you know you know us dying, like we think we just die one time. No, you die many times. We spoke about it earlier. When you change your perspective and you decide to think differently about something, you die. That's why Paul said, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. When you renew your mind, the old man dies. And everything the old man created in his physical reality dies with him. You become a new man. So you die many times, or we're supposed to die many times during life before we take that ultimate death. You know what I mean? But we're always in a constant state of dying. I mean, you have scientists say, "Oh, we're dying." Like we die because we eliminate our old selves and we become someone new. And this process is so magical. You could prolong your life and age backwards doing this, like doing this intentionally. There's so many ways. I have done this. That's all I'm gonna say. I have done this.
Yes.
You could change yourself, like change the features of your face, change the features of your body. It's you can, because I mean we live in that type of reality. It moves slow here because we're in a dense reality, but you can literally change your facial features. There's science to come out where people have changed their eye color just by thinking about it, just by
Transformation. Yep.
becoming the person who has that eye color in some alternate reality out there, you know.
Yes. And I believe that, and have experienced some of that myself along my way.
Mm.
To me, death in the physical form, uh, it never made any sense to me. And then
Right,
one day I just came to the awareness that to me is there's really no such thing.
right.
There's there's something within us, inside of us, spirit, essence, or that pure energy that is always there. That's why I feel like sometimes we experience deja vu, or we feel like we've been here before. We remember certain things that probably, obviously, that could have not even happened in this life. I'm speaking from my experience.
Right.
I remember other lives. I remember things that I've done in other lives, and um, a lot of the things that I'm doing in this life, I remember doing it in another life, and I
Right.
feel like I'm continuing from where I left off in
Hmm.
that other life. Uh, with that said, the physical, right? Our bodies, we are a system. The cells regenerate, they die off, they regenerate. And speaking of death, I feel like what you were saying, you can reverse things. I feel like I had this saying before that we die in the flesh and the physical because we do not know how to live. If our body is doing two things, it's it's healing and it's discarding, dying off.
Right.
We can bring that process, the healing process, above the death process,
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
that'll determine how long you can remain here.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I know there's something called I think it's called telomeres. If I'm using the correct word, they say that telomeres are it's like a let's see it. It's it's like a time clock, so to speak. So to speak. Uh, it's capped off at about 120 years old. We're supposed to not be able to live past 120 years
Oh
old.
yeah, I
You
heard
know what
that.
I'm
That was
talking
put
about?
there.
Yeah. But I feel like also if that's part of us, it's part of our reproductive system.
Yeah.
That's something that can be overcame as well.
Hmm. I heard. Now I don't know if it's true or not. We don't know what's true, but I heard that beings put that in us
Yeah.
on purpose so that we would live, super long or whatever. But like you said, we can overcome anything. Like the junk DNA that's inside of our bodies. I don't think God creates junk, or whatever created us creates junk. But but yeah, I agree. I agree. We can definitely stop any negative process in our body. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, we are the cure for aging. You know, diseases, whatever. We are the cure. You know, and I mean, when I say we, I mean every person individually for their own lives. You know, and I have a client that I'm working with, and now unfortunately, this client isn't hasn't ordered the academy services, but this is a more of a care, take care of them or whatever, and they can't really move their body for themselves anymore. And so I'm there every day, and I see that, and I'm just and it's a constant reminder, like even though the disease seems very, 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 very serious, or they may never overcome this, but just to see that literally thoughts created that. But in saying that, thoughts can uncreate that. those horrible diseases. In this example, ALS, where their body just shuts down and they can't get up and do anything for themselves. Um, but it's just it's wonderful. And I know you might say, "Oh, damn, Mark, here you're looking at somebody in this situation and think it's wonderful." It is wonderful because you see how accurate the law is. The law of I am and universal law is, because then you get to know people, and then you get to hear their thoughts, and then their trauma comes out in conversation, and then you're able to meticulously wire down where their disease comes from. And this is what I do at the OWUL Academy. When you come to me, and I can't even help it no more. It just happens automatically. People just, when you're having to take care of people, they just tell you their business anyway. But people usually, whether they know it consciously or subconsciously, they know what's wrong with them, because they'll tell you. They'll tell you. They'll tell you. They do it every time, and every time I get somebody new to heal, I always think, oh, this might be difficult this time, but I always prove myself wrong, because they always tell you what's wrong with them. They tell you what thoughts they have, and they tell you where it comes from in their childhood. You just have to keep listening. You just have to keep listening. In this particular case, it's a situation with a mother, and so most kids, because our concepts of time, God, money, and science and math, all that is given to us by people. So you have to be told who God is, or what God you serve when you were a child, in order, you know what I mean? You have to be told what God you're gonna serve. So when you're a child sucking the milks from your mother's breast, that's God to you. No matter if she said her God is Jesus, Muhammad, or whatever, she's feeding you out of her pots. She's giving you her titty to suck. That's your God. And so if that God, your mother, treats you like shit, or treats you like you're don't show you any intimacy, or soothe you when you're worried, or who don't teach you emotional intelligence, that gets locked into your DNA, because the person you see as God was not there for you in that way. And so now you're an adult lacking intimacy, and with trauma with intimacy, because your God, when you were younger, didn't show you that. These are things we have to overcome. Like that's why I say everything is God, because you decide what's God to you in whatever moment by your emotions. And see, when you were a child, you didn't know any better. You know what I mean? I don't even know how I even got all the way over here on that topic, but I feel like that's necessary to say. Um, we get so caught up on God, 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 God. Everything is God. When you get pissed off at your boss or your coworker, they're God to you in that moment, because they have complete power over you. They have power over you. They got you feeling some type of way. And your feelings, your emotions is your magic, your power, which creates your reality. What you're looking at is the image. Your emotion is what powers that image. And so if you're looking at your boss pissing you off and you're feeling that, you're creating more of it. Your boss is your God, because they got you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I can also go a little further in saying that when someone allows that, they become the devil.
Yeah. That's so
They,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
they bring in that energy into them.
Right.
And if they're not, I
Good.
wouldn't say careful, but they could actually, they can pass that energy on to the next throughout
Yeah.
the entire, um, the staff, the whole work area.
Mm-hmm.
And over a period of time, you'll end up with uh, low morale in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of took it left a little bit as well,
No,
but
no, that's good.
mhm,
You
that's
know,
how that energy can be um, moved around.
Mm.
Yep, on both sides.
I like how you said that, and I totally agree. I feel like some places hold energy, right? Places hold energy, like your workplace that holds a certain vibration, you know. But like the owner of that place or whoever is in charge, the manager or whatever, they create the atmosphere of that place, right? Because it's their establishment, you know. And so if they are at ease or they're not having, correct business practices or they treat people like crap, they attract people to work for them who feel like they don't deserve a good working condition. They attract people who don't really care about work. They attract people that's applicable to his vibration. So if his vibration is not to create a safe work environment or to value people's time or to respect people, he attract people who don't deserve they who don't feel like they deserve respect. People who will treat people on the team like shit. Like that creates that environment. You see what I mean? And this is why I don't work for people, because if you work for someone who's confused and who's disorganized, I can guarantee you that business is not run correctly. It's unorganized.
Yep.
You know, it's a reflection. It reflects down into your work.
And
And
it
so,
transfers right on out into the services as well, the quality of service.
and I was just about to say, it attracts people who have who are not at ease as customers. Who like I just know they're gonna fuck my order up. They pull right in and they fuck that order up. And they people who are having a bad day, they pull them in so they can have a even further day. Like people who are having a good day, even if they do stop at that establishment, they're gonna get that order right. That'll be the only order they get right that day. You see what I mean?
Yep.
And it'll be right when the bad people leave and the good people come in. It's perfect. This reality is perfect. We're living in a movie. It's everything is scripted. It's perfect. The actors are backstage. They're coming out right on time. Like this is a video game. This is why I say everything is fake. It is fixed. It is perfect. That's why when quote unquote bad things happen, I say, okay, this is an opportunity. There's an opportunity somewhere because it's fucking fake. And when you wrap your mind around how fake reality is and how perfect it is and how perfectly held together it is, it makes you smile. And so you really don't get wrapped up into pain. You know what I mean? Because even when you go somewhere and they fuck up your order, you're like, okay, where does this reflect in me?
Yep.
Am I giving out poor
Yep.
service? Am I giving out poor service? Or do I feel somewhere that I deserve to be treated this way, that or whatever? And so it just gives you something to look at because everything is held together perfectly.
Yep. Speaking of a movie, I call it the Truman Show.
Oh
Always,
yeah.
I compare a lot of situations in my life to the Truman Show. When I know that I don't deserve what is being tossed at me at the moment, I'd be like,
Hmm.
there goes the Truman Show again. They're testing me. They're putting
Right.
something out there to see how I'm going to react.
Mhm.
And sometimes that it it helps me maneuver around in a strange way, strange, funny way. When I talk to myself like that, yeah, it's the Truman Show. They at me again.
Right.
Slow myself down and make a different decision on uh, a different decision from what it is trying to steer me into,
Right.
moving on the positive.
Absolutely. That's a
Create a
good way to
different
think about it.
yes.
Good way to think about it. I always try to stay positive. Because sometimes things happen like it just be the stupidest of shit. It be the stupidest because I try to stay positive a lot. You know what I mean? So that would also mean that things rarely happen. You know what I mean? Because you stay positive, but sometimes you get that curve from somewhere. Because life, like I said, is perfect. It's going to seek out where you could clean something up. You know what I mean? So it's going to pull something from where some a belief still exists. You know, and it's perfect because I mean, if everything was perfect all the time, it'd be boring as hell. And then when you get bored, you realize it's time for change too. So that's something for you to work with. You know, so you can look at boredom as pain
Yeah.
because you don't want to be living life bored. You're bored, that means it's just time to do something else. You know what I mean? Um, but not dang, I forgot what I was saying. It's just so much that I could actually say. Um, but um, but yeah, it's perfect. It's perfectly held together, man. How reality is and what it does.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that balance needs to be there.
for sure.
Like you were saying, can't expect to be perfect all the time. Sometimes has to be some boundary or obstacle or some negativity has to jump out there at you. Kind
Right.
of do that little get back in there, strengthen it up, um, make things better. So like you said, otherwise it would just be one boring thing that
Right.
would be going nowhere. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we definitely. I wouldn't. I wouldn't count out having to have some negative things, influences going on.
Right.
But yeah, we just need to be mindful when it's going on, so we don't end up totally destructing. Got to get back in that mid range, that neutral standpoint.
Absolutely. I do want to ask you a question. Um, what is your thoughts on precognition or deja vu or
Uh,
deja vu? One of those fancy sayings. Like, what do you think about that? Like, how like sometimes you'll be doing something and it feels like reality snaps like right into place, and you're like, shit, did I already do this? And it leaves you wondering, damn, you already did this before. Like, what do you think about that?
Precognition, it exists. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we can get into that state. Some people feel like they have to uh, be on the under the influence of some external thing, be it alcohol, drugs, whatever. But I feel like we can get into that state by simply uh, slowing ourselves down, going
Right.
into meditation, cleansing our area and our thoughts, and visualizing. I lost your video. I don't know if you're still there, but absolutely, precognition exists. Deja vu, I feel that exists as well. It's like I said a while back in this on this live. We experience deja vu because we've been here before, and we're right here repeating and taking off where we left off in a past life. Past life could be something that happened in this life as well. So I'm a firm believer in both of those, precognition and deja vu. You still there, Markel? Video dropped out. I'm not sure if you're still on. Oh, there you go. Um, your video, I
Can you
lost
hear
your
me?
video signal. Yeah, I can hear you. Was you hearing me?
I can't hear you.
Cat? I'm not sure what's happening. Let's see if can you hear me now? No, nothing. Can you hear me? Let's see. Well, we had a bunch of comments here that I didn't realize. Let's see, I see comments from Demita, Angie. Oh man, we missed a lot of comments. I don't know if you can hear me yet, Markel. Okay, what time is it here? 10:16. Man, we missed a bunch of comments here. I don't know if anyone's yeah. So something happened with Markel's signal. I want to hang out here for a minute and see if he tries to drop back in. And I apologize. I'm just seeing all you guys' comments. Some of them started earlier. Uh, last comment was from my sister Angie, 10:15. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing any comments, and inside of here, I didn't select the comments box, so I apologize to everyone for not being able to respond. I'm going to go back in after this. After I end this, I'll go back in and respond, and appreciate everybody who tapped in and joined in. Uh, next time, I'll make sure that I don't ignore the comments. Well, I didn't ignore it, but I'll make sure that I select comments. Looks like Markel is trying to come back in. Yeah.
So sorry. I think
Hey.
my phone is overheating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was crazy because I don't know if you wasn't hearing me, was you?
No, it was completely silent.
Man. So yeah, I had pretty much answered your question. I was saying I know that precognition and deja vu exist on a personal level, just for me, from my own experiences. I feel like precognition comes about when we actually take the time to slow down and go deeper. We can access that through meditation,
Right.
um, and just visualization, looking at our circumstance from a certain point and kind of looking into where we want things to go, visualizing where we want our path to move, or visualize where we think it should. And I think those are aspects of precognition. So
Yeah.
once we have that visualization, and then move into it and look back uh, on our path, we can see precognition. We can see that it has taken place.
Right.
Yeah. And
I
deja
asked
vu,
because
I
I've
was feeling.
gotten into,
Mhm.
I'm studying it. But go, what was you about to say?
And I was saying, like I mentioned earlier, deja vu is part of uh past life things that we've been through, stuff that we had to take care of in past lives that can bleed over into the current lives. Um, also, deja vu exists in the current life. So I
Right.
believe in both of those. Yes.
Absolutely. The reason I asked is because I'm looking into it because I find it a very interesting occurrence. I've been experiencing precognition since I was little. I would say that that's probably my only spiritual gifting. other than to learn how to do stuff really, really fast. Um, just to see parts of the future. But now, because I've experienced deja vu the other day, but the more because deja vu doesn't happen all the time, um, like it used to. But because precognition is when you have it like in your sleep, or like you say in meditation or something like that, like where you'll get the vision, right? And then deja vu is like when you like it. I may be saying it wrong, but I think deja vu is like when you actually experience it. And so when I experience that deja vu, it's almost like reality snaps into place. Like say if you were playing a video game, it's like a reality, like a checkpoint, like saying, okay, you're here at this stage. Um, and the reason why I asked you about it because I journaled, I think yesterday, about the strange deja vu and precognition. I'm guessing it happens, like I said before, like it's like a landmark or like a checkpoint or something like that
Yeah.
from the universe to say, okay, you're on the right path or something like that. I don't know. I keep saying I don't know because I'm still looking into it. But I notice I receive deja vu at the end of a stage every single time. Like when I'm manifesting something new, dreams get stronger. Like I'll dream like really strong. Like I like the dreams be crazy. But then I'll wake up and I won't remember them. It's like there's some sort of power over me, or like, oh, say it like this: reality becomes really bendable or malleable or really lucid, and I'm even able, like right before I'm getting ready to manifest something big, I'm able to lucid dream, like when you just become aware in the dream.
Yeah.
Um, I just notice things just get real loose, like almost like I'm a ghost and just in between different dimensions, just hopping like. And the reason I ask you that because I'm just trying to learn more about it, because it's only very recently where I've noticed the pattern. Like I'm like, okay, I know this for sure. Every time something is getting ready to happen, precognition, deja vu, just the end of a stage. And I've seen so many different places, like for an example, like right when I was about to move out of my house. Like I thought I've never seen my house in a deja before because like I've been having deja vu my entire life. I'm thinking this is a big manifestation. How come I've never had a dream about my house? Um, and then one day I was out in the parking lot in the driveway, and it's like I saw the parking lot of my house at this one angle. It was perfect, and it's like reality snapped into place. Like I had already been there. I'm like, oh, never saw the house, but I saw outside of the house in the driveway. Turned away from the house. Just but we always. What do we think our dreams are made of when we go to sleep? It's of those, like you said, those past life occurrences, things going on in different realities, things that's going to happen in the future. I remember, I'll tell you a funny dream I had one time. It was so real, Phil. It was real. I had a dream that it was the world was going through a zombie apocalypse or something like that. Or a virus went around and it caused people to go crazy or whatever, right? And I had whatever property I was on, the gate locked. So I went to open the gate, and a zombie attacked me, and everything just went black. So I guess that I hope that's not the future. But what I picked from that was that was an alternate reality because it was real. I felt like I was attacked. Like I felt it. Like this thing started biting me, hurting me. Like this is very, very real. This wasn't like something like a dream you saw. Like I lived that. Um, I've lived whole lives in dreams before, like whole lives, just shopping, walking around shopping and stuff. This this weird stuff, that I can't really explain, and definitely going to get into that. Definitely going to get into that more because there's something there.
Yeah. And I want to go back where you were let's see, what was it? You said when you experience that deja vu, and it's almost like a marker for that
Yeah.
point. I feel like that's when that happens, it's like a zone you get into. It's like a, yeah, I'll just say zone. There's some another word I want to use. But when you reach that point, you're actually in an element where manifestation can happen on the fly, almost instantaneously.
Right.
When
Okay.
you are in it and um, you can see it, you can. How can I get it? You, it's difficult for me to get the right words, but there's a zone that you can get into where you're like making things happen.
With a flow state.
The
They
long,
call it flow state.
yeah, yeah, and the longer you can stay in there, the quicker you can manifest.
I've heard of that, and I can actually
I've
I can back that
experienced
up.
that temporarily, but it
Yeah.
doesn't. It's hard to keep it, but when you get in there, you can actually execute some magical things.
So are you saying that okay, I understand. So you're saying that when deja vu happened, that's a moment. That's like a okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I understand what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go write that down
Yeah.
because
So
the flow state is important. It's very important, but I didn't think of that moment because deja vu is like a split second, like a half a second. It's so quick. But that moment of complete lucidity, though, like of movement like water. You see what I mean? That makes sense. That then that moment you're in the flow state, so you are able to like I said earlier. I even said like how you like standing in between the different multiple realities, and you could go to here, 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 here. You know what I mean?
and if you think about it, now
And
that you mentioned lucidity, inside a lucid dream, that
hmm
happens.
right,
You know that you're in the dream. Everything that's happening in the dream, you know it's a dream, but you're in the dream making things happen in the
right.
dream while you're there.
Same about physical reality.
Yeah,
As above, so below. So if you can, and now they say the dream world is more real than this world. That's what they say, because like when you're there, like things happen instantaneously. Here, things happen. It takes quote unquote time. So the dream world is like the spirit world. But anyway, as above, so below. It's a lot. It's a lot I can actually say about dreams, but that's a whole nother live, man.
yeah,
Because I had to create a dream journal and everything. Um, because dreams are is crazy in the like even astral projection. We haven't even mentioned that yet because I haven't done it.
you
I
haven't
haven't
done
done it
any
yet.
astral projection.
No, because every time I don't even know if I should say this. Every time my astral form gets the whooshing sound that loud wind you get right before it happens, like the lifting your consciousness out of your physical form. Every time I do that, I get scared and I ask them to stop because if you don't know what's going on, you think a hag is riding your back is what they call it, and that's just the beginning of you getting out of your body. When you feel like something's holding you down, that's not a demon holding like a witch riding you. That's not that. I'm glad I had to deconstruct my mind on that thinking, because once I did and it happened, I no longer felt like I was in fear. I just felt a sensation of my body literally trying to be pulled out. But to me, that's still scary right now in the mind that I'm in right now. It's not so scary. But when it's actually happening, it's intense. It's intense. So I haven't. Um, I don't really get into it. Like I always punk out of it. I think my phone's about to freeze up. Yeah, but astral projection is something that I get a little afraid about. I always punk out.
I've experienced it a few times. It also got to the point where um, I almost feel like I can activate it whenever I want, but it's not always whenever I want. And whenever I'm able to tap it, is 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 very minimal. It's only like bits and pieces, flickers. Um, I haven't been able to by real tap into it and like just go in deep and remain there. But I have experienced it before. It's been at a younger age. I've experienced it, and it's for me it wasn't really scary. It was exciting, and um I really didn't know exactly what was going on while it was happening. But now, you know, hindsight, when I look back, I understand it a little better. I realized that that's what was going on. Astral projection can take you to some
Right.
places. There ain't no limit on that. They can like really take you out there. And like you said, that's it's gonna be a whole nother topic for another live. But yeah, that's good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I would say don't fear it.
What?
Just go in.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
The fear in that realm causes those things to come after you. Those little dark beings.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Markel? He's dropping out again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. I guess they're hinting at us to let us know we need to go ahead and stop. I'm going to give him a minute to come back in here and we'll close out. Keep it real. Angie, I see y'all was still in here. Thank you. Um, said I was going to keep my eye on the comments, and did it again. Kirill said I was getting mad. I don't know what he got mad about. Maybe he must have got mad because we weren't paying attention to the comments. See, it happens every time I sleep on my back. Yep, that's when it used to happen to me a lot too. Sleeping on my back. All right, Markel just messaged me. He said his phone died. He's trying to get back in there, hang out here a little bit. It's like he's back in. Okay.
I apologize for that.
No
Um,
problem. I
I
was just
fully
sitting. I was just sitting here going through some of the comments. We had a bunch of comments on here while we were talking, and I was looking on my phone trying to figure out why no one's saying anything. All the whole time, I should have hit the comments box here on the platform.
Yeah, I
So I was
saw
waiting
them.
for
I
someone to
saw them
comment.
when I exit out the first time. I was like, oh, there's people talking in here.
Hmm. Yeah, Angie, my sister, my son Kia Real. We had Demita Watson was on here. I think you probably know Demita. You remember my homeboy Benny Cooper?
No,
Oh, okay. Anyway, his older sister, Demita, they was commenting. And
that's good.
yeah. Angie's still on here. She just said hi. She was telling you hi.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry, I actually charged my phone 100% before I got out here, and the sun's not out, but my phone keeps overheating, and of course, overheating is causing my battery to drain.
Yeah.
So I'm at 2%, but
Okay.
I really love this conversation, and I love that you created a platform for this type of carrying on because we need conversations like this. We
Yeah.
really do. You know, any conversation that expands awareness in any way is a good conversation.
Absolutely. Yep. I appreciate you coming on. Um, always I'm like my own biggest critic. I'm always feeling like I could have done something better. Um, but we're on the runway right now, so we're just
Mhm.
taking off. So I feel like it was productive. Um, I'm gonna go back and listen on listen in on it and see what I feel like I could have touched up on as far as being a commentator with questions and stuff like that. But overall, I think we did pretty good.
I think so. You asked pretty big questions too, like
Yeah,
what I thought about death. Like people don't like to talk about that.
yeah,
That's a really big question. But I'm glad we got to touch on it. I'm glad I got to ask you about um the lucid state of consciousness as far as like precognition and deja vu, because I got that was on my mind for a while, and I never likened it to the flow state, and that was probably a connection that I needed.
great, awesome.
And I appreciate that for that today.
Thank, thank you. I appreciate you as well.
Yes, sir.
Looks like I don't know what's happening here. It's trying to look like it's trying to freeze up on me. Weird stuff is starting to happen.
Yeah.
But I guess we can go ahead and move towards closing. Um, Before we get out of here, I wanted to give you the opportunity to let people know if there's anything coming up or any place online where you want people to link up with you just to you know start to get to know you better. Anything else you would like to say? Go ahead and add it in there. We'll get ready to close it out because my screen is totally frozen, but I can see that we're still live looking on my phone, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. You guys, I'm I'm a regular guy, and while I'm still here in the United States, if you have a question, just message me. Like, I'm not gonna charge you to talk to you. I do have a consultation fee, but I'm not gonna charge it. If there's something you need to talk about or stuff like that, as long as you don't take too much of my time, I will give you what you need, what I feel like you need to hear. So just message me. If you want more peace, you want to be healed, whatever. It doesn't matter. You want to manifest a man, more money, a house. It really doesn't matter. Manifestation is easy. I think the what we need to work on is the inner work. Manifesting our desires is the easy part because God wants us to have everything we want. Just relinquishing traumas and old states of consciousness is where the work comes in. And so you can find me on Instagram at Professor PROPhessorMR. Find me on TikTok. That's where all the information is. PROPHESSORMR. Professor MR. So Professor is spelled incorrectly. PROPHESSOR. So yeah, just follow me on those accounts. Ask me whatever you want. I'll send you my number. We can talk. Um, but yeah, it's been a nice conversation, Phil. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for joining in. And hopefully we can do it again on another topic. And
For sure. I definitely
move
want
through.
to. I definitely want to.
All right. Great.